Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the PADAWAN Podcast, Apocaflix Movies All Star Wars podcast, where we're breaking down everything from the galaxy far, far away. Today, we are not talking books or TV shows. We are talking The Rise of Skywalker. But we may not be talking something that you want us to talk about or think that we're going to talk about. We're going to be staying a little bit away from Dark Rey today and talking a little bit more about Palpatine. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about him much since his big reveal this past summer in the initial trailer from The Rise of Skywalker, and we're going to take some time today to ask the question of how exactly is Palpatine alive or back? Because he may not be alive, he may just be back, and so we're going to throw some theories out there, go a little bit in a round table style, and each of us are going to basically pitch our theory, and we're going to dive into it and have some fun conversations about it. And so I'm your host, Jake Berlin, aka Qui-Gon Jake, and today I am joined by Jacob Bartley, the Grand Moff Bartley himself, and Brian Fett, Mr. Avalosino, all the way over to the left. How you guys doing?
I'm good. Did we settle on Brian Fett? Is that
it's
for now?
Whatever, because the only one that I really want is yours. So it's
wow. Hey, honestly,
because I would have gone Grand Admiral Avalosino.
Honestly,
it had to be something dark and something.
I wouldn't mind a new name and giving that name to you.
Let's start.
You're gonna get demoted.
Should we start
brainstorming?
Thinking? Should we start thinking?
Yeah.
All right.
I literally have a Grand Admiral Thrawn pin.
The thing is, the Admiral thing works perfect with your name. Mine was just random because I love Tarkin in A New Hope, but
Thrawn, give me an evil guy.
We may have to start thinking.
So look, it's so difficult to find one for him.
Yes,
I'm sure we can find one for me. If you can think of an Obi-Wan, let's do it. But let's not spend too much time on
Obi-Wan Jacoby.
Hey, that might work.
It literally just went right into my head.
But his name's not Jacoby. That's the only thing.
Jacoby.
Yeah, but it's like mine. Mine's Qui-Gon Jake. Geo is C3GO. You know. So we'll figure something out. Something out. But yeah, so like I said, we're gonna be diving into Palpatine today and theorizing as far as how Sheev himself is back in the world of Star Wars. And to kick us off, I'm going to throw it right to Jacob. What is your theory, man? What do you think is going to happen? And how is he returning to the galaxy far, far away?
So, the thing for me, this was easy when I knew what the topic was. My thoughts, my number one theory hasn't changed since we first saw that trailer from, was it Star Wars Celebration?
Yes.
It hasn't changed, and I think there is...
Which we will be attending next year.
Yes, we will. All three of us right here. Sometimes I forget, and I'm like, because it's so far away.
You know what's funny is,
wait a minute, we're going?
Before you get started, just a quick... The saga's going to be over,
I'm so excited.
But they're going to be announcing so many new
stuff.
things.
Yeah, and how close are we going to be to Obi-Wan at that point?
Yeah. Obi-Wan will be coming out that year.
It'll be coming out that year. Andor.
Dude.
No, well, I think Obi-Wan
and
go
the
first.
New movies and just everything.
Yeah. Anyway.
So there were a couple things I thought might happen, but I've settled on this over time. Is he's going to be some iteration of a dark side Force ghost. I'm 100% set on that. I'm not sure if there's straight truth in canon that a dark side user cannot come back some way as a Force ghost.
Well, we've never seen
I don't think they've ever said only light side users can do it.
They haven't.
But we've never seen a dark side user. I mean, what about Anakin? He did come back after he went to the dark side. So I'm not sure if it's the exact same way, if it's a different way, if they look all black and lightning-ish and they're all fading out. Maybe it looks different. I don't know.
Very true.
But I do think, because for me, if he's flesh and blood, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a lot of explaining to do. Is he going to look even worse than he did before, meaning damaged skin and everything like that?
He's going to literally be burnt.
I forgot who said this, but somebody said this on some Star Wars show. He does Carrie Fisher in The Last Jedi, and he actually just floats out of the Death Star, starts flying in space. We're going to get a flashback to the end of Return of the Jedi. Yeah. And to me, those things where he's in robots doesn't make sense. And other theories, for me, I'm not down for, but I am down for a dark Force ghost Palpatine, and I think it makes the most sense because we hear his laugh, and if he's laughing in real time and not a flashback or something, then he can laugh as a Force ghost. He can talk to Rey as a Force ghost. He can talk to Kylo as a Force ghost. He can...
Well, I mean, look at Yoda. Yoda was essentially a physical being.
And he can affect reality as a Force ghost.
He touched Luke with his stick, and he brought lightning down on the tree.
Exactly. And that was just an extension of us seeing Obi-Wan sit on a log in Empire Strikes Back. So, to me, it makes the most sense, and it's the most believable, and it's the one where once you see it, you don't have to explain it. It's just there.
Well, that's the thing. It's the easiest solution
because
to bringing
you just see him as a Force ghost, and automatically you're thinking, "I've seen Force ghosts in Star Wars. I'm with this."
Well,
if it's something else, there's going to be a lot more explaining to do.
Yeah, and this also plays off the fact that we've talked about it a lot of times, where each Star Wars movie, or at least each trilogy of the saga, has introduced a new part of the Force as we followed the story. We began with a very little amount of the Force in the original trilogy. That's what we thought it was, just that to begin with. Then we go to the prequels, and they're doing all these mind tricks, and they're flipping, and they're using all of these new Force abilities. And then we go to this new trilogy, and there's a lot more to add to it, as far as maybe like Luke transporting himself across the galaxy,
Force Skype.
Force Skype. You do the stuff with Yoda and physically touching Luke, being there with the Force Ghost. So it makes sense, because if you look back and you're sitting down and like, okay, they do introduce new stuff, this wouldn't be unbelievable or non-believable because it's just something new to the Force that they're adding. It is the easiest way. It makes the most sense, like you had said. And there's a lot of things in canon that we know that there can be a possibility of, like you had mentioned, him being the robot from Battlefront 2, transferring his consciousness per se. A lot of people are throwing on the idea.
But that would just be too much for...
And there's not enough time to explain that. There's not enough time to explain that in this type of movie, because there's so much to cover. And so I do think that your theory by far outweighs the rest of them, just because it is the easiest and it makes the most sense for mass audiences.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I'm between two, which is both of them have been said. One...
Well, do you believe his? Or do you think it's a good
one? If I'm to lean to something, it's the ghost.
Okay.
I think he won't be called a ghost, though. I think he'll be called a Force.
We've never actually called him Force Ghosts.
Nobody's ever called him Force Ghosts.
Only us
in the
call
movie.
him Force Ghosts.
You know what's funny is, in canon, I don't think they're called Force Ghosts. I think people just call them Force Ghosts.
Visions or something?
Like maybe Force beings, but they're never called ghosts.
Yeah, okay.
They're not called ghosts.
I mean, I always knew that, but we just never talk about it.
They're Force beings. They're not really ghosts. They're kind of just Force beings. Like
we just know someone coming back from the dead in a visual form is a ghost.
Exactly.
So we just
I'm gonna call it that. If it's what it is, I'm gonna start calling him Force Phantom, because he's the bad guy. But I think that's the most plausible. My other one that I lean towards, but definitely on the more lower side.
Is this your theory?
No, my theory is the Force Phantom.
Okay.
I truly think that's what it is, because, like Jacob said, there's a lot of explaining they got to do. If he got thrown, his ass got thrown down that giant thing by Darth Vader, and he went poof. Like, I mean, if he's a physical being, like flesh and blood, one, that kind of diminishes the Revenge of the Jedi, or Return of the Jedi, excuse me, Return of the Jedi of Darth Vader doing what he did. And then second, it kind of then becomes ridiculous, which I don't think they would go towards. The other one that, like, if I had to say, like, I'm 95% Force Phantom, and 5% something else would be what we saw in the Battlefront, which was in the robot. Mm-hmm. I just think the thing that makes me think that that's not what would happen is because it almost seems like a cop-out. Like, it's like, oh, look, Palpatine's back. But he's a robot. Like that. And I think people would be pissed off of that. If he, after all of this, his face is in the poster, the actor showed up as him in
and
Celebration.
it wouldn't even be him. It would be either recordings or his downloaded consciousness.
It would be Arnim Zola from the Winter Soldier.
Exactly. It wouldn't really be him.
So I don't see that, because to me that's a cop out, and I fully think that he's going for.
See, the only reason why I somewhat think that may happen is because since The Force Awakens, there's been a lot of coverage on Palpatine and his bidding with the outside planets and his bases and all of the Force stuff he's been collecting. Specifically, there was a lot in Battlefront 2, the Aftermath novels, and a lot of the mass audience isn't going to know what we're talking about. But the thing is you can take a 5-minute monologue or dialogue situation from Palpatine, and he can easily explain that.
Yeah,
he can easily explain that in a 5 or 10 minute scene with someone. Maybe it's Kylo, maybe it's another character we've never met before. And so I'm not going to disregard that just yet, because a lot of stuff in canon outside of the movies has been kind of pointing towards that.
And they've
said
it.
We keep hearing about his bases that he's put around planet, specifically on Jakku. Jakku's going to play into this movie somehow. And I think it's going to play in with him, and I kind of want to learn that backstory. And if it's connected to him being a robot, I don't know. I don't think I would mind that, I'm saying. So
I don't think I would mind it. I just feel like in the masses, especially the not like big time Star Wars fans, they're gonna be like, "Boo! They tricked us into thinking he's gonna be he's just a robot."
I mean, it could be told in a very, very cool sense, though.
Yeah.
A very cool sense where it makes sense. People catch on to it, and they're like, "Okay, I dig that. Let's move on. Let's go on to the next point of the story."
I mean, it's hard for me to believe that Palpatine didn't have some type of contingency plan, because
that's what he calls it.
Well, that's
that's exactly what he calls it.
And so, I mean,
well, the thing is, if it is the robot thing, he's not going to know who Rey is. He's not going to know who Kylo is. He wasn't alive during that time. So, what is he going to say?
He says this in the trailer. We don't know who he's talking to, but it's over the voiceover to Rey says, "Your journey is coming to an end." Yeah. We're thinking he's talking to
we don't know who he's talking to.
We don't know who he's talking to, but it seems like they're kind of going to butt heads towards the end of the film.
That could literally be...
Unless, I mean, Rey and Dark Rey could have been part of his contingency plan, and he knew they were coming all along, and that's different.
Very well.
I think clones were part of his contingency plan, and that's what's going to happen.
Well, clones were part of his plan beforehand, so
that's what I'm saying.
So instead of doing it with non-Force users, he figured out a way to do it with Force users.
I think so too.
Which would be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so my theory is kind of connected to what Jacob was saying a little bit, but it starts off a little bit different.
Connected to both Wars, we picked the same thing.
Yeah, it's in the same realm, and I don't know how it kind of finishes, whether he found a way to become physical being again, or if he ends up being a Force ghost or something of that kind. Force Phantom, excuse me.
I'm trademarking that.
We're going to trademark that here on the PADAWAN podcast.
You heard it here first.
But my thing, I started to think about this a lot since I kind of came up with this question for the show, and I really think that Palpatine found a way to connect himself, or maybe it is in fact his consciousness, but attach himself to Vader's helmet.
That was the... Yes.
And because Vader's helmet wasn't just in The Force Awakens for no reason. Mm-hmm. Kylo Ren wasn't just talking to the helmet for no reason. What if we, all this time we've been thinking, maybe he's communicating with his grandfather. What if in fact he's really communicating with the Emperor this entire time? And
he wouldn't know Darth Vader's voice.
That's what I'm saying. And we do see the helmet in that recent trailer. It popped in for a quick second. He opened a drawer, it's sitting right there. I do think that he found a way to attach himself to that helmet. And if that means maybe he connects himself to a different body, he maybe apparitions himself.
They show Vader's helmet in the trailer?
They show Vader's helmet in the trailer.
Okay, so we can talk about this another time, but he gets it off of Starkiller Base before they leave?
No, it was on his ship.
Oh, it wasn't on Starkiller Base?
It was on his ship.
No, it was on his ship.
Okay, you're right.
It was on his ship.
So they got out of there on his ship. So his ship didn't blow up then?
No. His ship was in the orbit because it's one of the giant juggernaut stars.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
This would make sense because they've...
Well, and maybe it comes to a point where, like I said, maybe he found a way to connect his conscience to a Sith relic, almost in a way, right? Vader's helmet has become this relic, and then he's able to transfer himself to a being, maybe like someone like Rey, or a another clone of Rey or someone, and that person that we see in the trailer, maybe it's Palpatine, or maybe Palpatine finds a different body, and we're hearing just Ian McDermott's voice through that body. Like maybe it's Matt Smith that we've heard so many castings about, or maybe it's another person we've never met before, or something like that. But I kind of feel like they're going to find a way to physically bring him back rather than just be a Force ghost, and it's kind of going to be a way through a Sith relic or something in the Force that we haven't heard of before.
It's funny that you chose that one thing, because I don't know if you remember or had time to read it. You gave us a comic book that moment was attached to...
the where we found out that he had played with Shmi Skywalker.
Yep. Yeah. He was attached to...
The helmet.
That helmet.
Yeah.
That would be... it works perfectly. We know that
it's in canon, but they barely connect canon stuff to the movies.
And this could be a very easy way to explain how he's back.
Yeah.
Because the helmet's been there since The Force Awakens. And Kylo's had it since The Force Awakens. And we expect them to interact somehow. And maybe Kylo has known, or not known, but known that there's someone else out there, not knowing that it's Palpatine, and maybe thinking that it was his grandfather.
That'd be wild. That's a really good one, too.
I think it'd just be cool, too.
That would mean that he couldn't do it without Vader's helmet.
Yeah.
So, basically, it's similar to what I'm saying, but you're saying he needs Vader's helmet to do it, and through that, he can physically take over someone's body or something like that.
Oh my, I just thought about this, but what if, saying that he does find a way...
he puts on that helmet.
No, well, no, it's all burnt and crisp and everything, but saying he's able to find himself back to a physical way or transfer himself to a physical being, what if he ends up taking over Kylo's body?
Yeah, I've heard that before, too.
That'd be kind of cool.
I just want Kylo to be Kylo.
So do I.
So, yeah.
So do I.
But,
and it would be very interesting, though, to see how they played with that, but this could also play with, we heard that, we know that Snoke turned Kylo to the dark side. But where did Snoke really get that idea? Maybe Palpatine has been pulling the strings with Snoke this entire time.
Just like and why and how all the trilogies are connected is because all of them, Palpatine is pulling the strings.
Well, yeah.
And I think
There's
we're going to find out
that's him.
In this trilogy, Palpatine has been pulling the strings. That he was behind Snoke. He was behind, even if Snoke didn't know it, he was behind Kylo turning to the dark side through Snoke. And I think we'll get some type of kind of refresher. Look at all the things that happened in these first two movies. Palpatine was really behind them. And I think one of them is when Kylo and Rey first fight and they're in the snow and she strikes Kylo down and she's looking over him and she looks really angry.
Aggressive.
I've said this a long time ago that somebody's whispering to her to kill him. She's not actually hearing it, but she's hearing it in her head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's, do it. It's that again.
She fights in that scene in his fighting style too.
Well, it's a mixture of.
And if you look at her the way she's looked, she wants to kill Kylo, and then the things start to break, and the ground separates them. So I think those moments he was manipulating everything, and maybe he's opening Kylo up to the dark side even more than he normally would. Those moments when Kylo's getting really angry. There's Anakin in there too, but I don't know. I just hope that it's not cheesy. However, that it's done.
I don't think it won't be cheesy. I think it's gonna be done perfectly because you have to have some big cojones to bring back Palpatine, and you're not gonna do it in some there's no way they're gonna be like, oh look, we were able to just fit him in just for a little hey, cool, this is wrapping it up. We brought back. There's no way people will eat them alive. So it has to be a good way.
Yeah, the thing that's cool about the helmet thing, it's kind of like a horror feel and it makes sense with the Sith and the dark side
and the Force,
it's a haunted relic.
And it's a haunted relic, and it's. I'm not comparing Star Wars to Annabelle, but if you look, Annabelle, the doll is not actually getting up and killing people.
It's
the demon is attached to the doll, and through the doll, the demon is able to manifest itself into the living. So it's just like that.
I mean, it would make sense. It would be kind of cool to have Darth Vader's helmet be a Sith relic.
It really is a Sith relic.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It would be dope. That would be a legit thing. we've never seen like in live action like a Sith relic. Have we even seen a Jedi relic? I don't think so.
Not a live action.
Yeah. So I mean, like
it depends.
Well,
do you call Anakin's
lightsaber
lightsaber a Jedi relic?
It's
yeah,
pretty
I
much
guess,
a relic.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, plus that helmet, which we learned from that book, sits on a pile of ashes.
Yeah.
Of people that have been killed.
Yeah.
That is fucking savage. And how dope would that be to have like this evil Sith relic that Palpatine is like maybe talking through on a pile of ashes? It sounds.
He's been like basking in it for
Yeah.
however long it's been sitting there. He's been sitting with that helmet for essentially 30 years.
Yeah.
Waiting there to kind of be almost like in a way resurrected. I don't. It definitely dives into like what you were saying, like the horror vibe, the magic, sense of a genre, which Star Wars has always done that. Obviously with the Force and lightsabers, and Han he mentions the word magic in A New Hope, and so.
Well, and we've seen it in Clone Wars with Asajj Ventress and the Dark Sisters. Like, they literally are magic beings.
Yeah. So I definitely think that it'd be very cool to see that, and I think that it's a high possibility.
Or Night Sister, sorry.
Now, I do think that JJ would do something like that. I think that he would, because that not only like is something that's pretty like cool to tell, but it also is like very, very canon oriented, and it really like praises the people who have been staying with everything Star Wars for the last so many years. People are then like diving into like what the Sith mean and like their whereabouts and where they came from and all of these things. Doing something like that is, you can call it fan service, but it's fan service to the diehard Star Wars fans who have been wanting something like this in the live action movies for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm still going with just traditional Force Ghosts.
Jacob's like, your thing is awesome,
No,
but
so
it's just not.
But I think it's the most realistic to me, because even that is like, whoa, wait a minute.
And I wanted to mention, so the Clone Wars, the 4-episode arc where Anakin turns bad before he turns bad with the brother and sister and father.
Uh-huh.
There is a deleted, unused scene that isn't considered canon because it was never used, where Plagueis and Revan come back and Anakin talks to them down below in the middle of that planet. And they're Force ghosts, but they're 50 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And I think it would be really cool that if they did do something like that, to differentiate the Jedi and the Sith type of Force ghosts, they make him bigger.
Look at that poster, though, too.
They make him bigger.
It's kind of funny because
that makes sense with the poster. Look how much bigger he is standing behind them. And
it would be really cool
look.
if they just kind of made him, maybe like 10 feet taller than a normal person, to be like, okay, this is what the Sith Force ghost looks like.
It kind of reminds me of when we first thought
Snoke was huge.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I honestly, I believe mine's going to be true, and I hope it's true, because it's just simple.
I believe mine, because mine's the best.
It's just simple.
Well, you're the same. You're the same.
No,
I don't want it
him
to be too complicated, and I don't think he's going to be in the movie that much.
I don't think so either.
I think he will be.
I don't,
really?
Because unless he's physical being somehow.
That may be why I think that, because I do think he'll come out physically.
I think he's going to be in it as much as Obi-Wan was in Empire, basically. Just important, but not throughout the whole movie. And I do think he's going to have a heavy effect. For some reason, he should have a heavy effect on Kylo, but I think he's more going to have a heavy effect on Rey.
I think he will, and what I do too. But real quick before we get off too much topic, but we haven't talked much about Darth Vader because we haven't seen each other.
Yeah, well,
where do you think that's going?
Clone.
Just quickly. Jacob, because Jacob hasn't talked about it.
At first, all right. So I honestly think it's not going to be real.
Like a vision?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's stupid. I would hate that, because they're just using something that's not real for marketing in the movie. I'm okay with it being in the movie. If we never saw that shot and it was like, this is what you could become if you went down the dark side.
It's like the Knights of Ren all over again.
I would have been like, whoa, that's cool. But the fact that they're using it to get people hyped, get people speculating, it's smart.
It's exactly what they did with the Knights of Ren and the Force Awakens.
It's an a-hole move, in my opinion. And for me, if it is a vision, then I'm going to be kind of upset.
So do you think Palpatine is giving her that vision?
Someone, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Especially because we know Palpatine's in the movie.
Okay.
But what I'm leaning towards, my safe side is saying expect that. But what I'm leaning towards is the clone thing for sure. I think this is all going to tie in where either or they're actually twins, and they were separated at birth, and this is where she ended up. This is where she ended up.
It'd be wild.
And this one was taken, and Palpatine's been training her this whole time. And she was in the outer regions where Snoke came from. And
it's the Logan effect.
And then,
right?
exactly.
It's the Logan effect.
This has all been leading up. And now that the other twin, who they thought was dead or whatever, by somebody who left her on Jakku, that now Palpatine's like, whoa, this girl's alive, and she's the biggest threat to my plan. I'm going to send her evil twin after her. That, or they're just, they're clones of something. They both are.
Did you get a chance to listen to the last episode?
Not yet, no.
So I had mentioned. So I'm on the clone hype train. And the one thing that I had mentioned, and Brian freaked out when I mentioned this, and he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to agree to this, but he freaked out when I mentioned this.
Is this my idea that you try to pass off?
Yeah, your idea that whatever. I go back to the scene in The Last Jedi when she's down in the cave. And the scene when she's trying to figure out who her parents are.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
Mia
yeah,
reveals
yeah.
multiple versions of her. Maybe
That
that
would
scene
make
is telling
sense.
her that she's
Well,
one of a clone.
She says, "Show me my parents,"
And shows her.
Yeah,
Maybe she doesn't have parents.
and her is whoever the original DNA was.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
Maybe she was the original DNA, and that's...
So that makes a lot of sense, and I think I'd be cool with, because I want that dark side Rey, because I don't think that's our Rey.
No, I don't think
There's
so. There's
no way.
I don't think so.
Unless
She
you do
looks- she
5
looks-
years later. Or
She
something.
looks famished. Like she hasn't
literally
eaten in
the
50
word.
days.
Exactly.
She's very,
Mhm.
thin-faced, thin
No,
neck.
you guys
But
are
it
right.
also could be a visual effect thing on trailer. They could just be playing with our eyes a little bit.
Well,
They've
also,
done
if
that
it's
before.
a vision, then that's possible
Yes.
too. She can look different.
Yes.
But I'd be cool with that. I'd also be cool with twins. I want that Rey to be real, the bad one, to be a separate being from our Rey, but
Would you
actually
find
be
with
real.
twins?
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be corny, and especially after the fact that Luke and Leia were twins. Now you're gonna have an evil...
I would rather it be that than of just some random force vision.
Here's the reason why I don't think it's corny. The expanded universe, the Legend verse, as they call it, the Solo twins.
Are you talking about Mara Jade?
No.
Oh.
Han and Leia's children, the twins, one was good, one was bad.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
I
That's not
mean,
Mara
people
Jade,
have
that's
talked
Luke's
about
Oh, yeah.
talked
you're
about
right.
her and Kylo being that.
Yes, but it could very well be
But-
her and her sister.
But we've done the math based on predictions, and it wouldn't make sense for them to be twins, her and
That would be
Kylo.
kind
They're different age.
That would be kind
Yeah,
of funny.
because we saw Rey as a young girl and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be kind of funny, too, because of the Legends thing, because the son did go bad, and the daughter was the savior one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't even think it's like, I think somehow the bad twin didn't even have a choice. Like, she was raised to be.
Yeah, like
dark
I think
side
you had
user.
mentioned maybe she was
And
picked off from someone.
If she's was raised from birth to be a Sith Lord, can you imagine how powerful she is?
Yeah.
And if that's true, I want to see.
A fight between
People
the
have
two of
said,
them.
the scene where people have speculated, the scene where we see Kylo and Rey fighting on top of the ship in the water is in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. If that girl is a dark side Sith who's been brought up since birth, she's so powerful, and I wouldn't mind seeing her take on Kylo and Rey at the same time.
So you're saying I don't want to get into this conversation, but do you think Kylo's going to be redeemed by that statement? Because I don't want him to be redeemed. I know we're going off topic. We only have a few minutes left, but I just want a quick answer.
Well, he always goes so full circle.
I know.
Here's the thing: I don't mind if he is or not. I don't mind if he is or not.
I want him to die horribly.
No.
But I don't think he
Die.
will. I wouldn't mind either way.
No.
I don't care if he's redeemed or not. I will care if he dies. I do
He
not
deserves
want
to
him. No,
die.
All right,
He deserves to die.
No.
Yes, he does.
No.
I'm sorry.
he's a great character. He does
He
not.
is. He is.
The thing is, No, I do not want... I would rather Rey die.
You're
I would
nuts,
rather
bro.
Rey die. I'm
You're
not
nuts.
even kidding.
I wish we were doing video, because if you could have seen Jake's face...
I've been
he just
saying
said
this from the
Rey's
beginning.
gonna die.
I would rather any character in the movie die than
Should we put a
Kylo.
friendly bet on this?
No, here's the thing. I'm not saying what I think's going to happen. I'm saying what I want to happen.
What do you think's going to happen? Quickly.
No, I actually think they're going to kill him, and
Okay.
it pisses me off.
Me too. That's
Fair.
me
Be
too.
honest.
I'm the same.
It pisses me off. So
He's
I'm not going to
die
take that
horribly,
bet.
and it's going to be the
I
best.
feel
way
like
to
he's
tell
gonna
it.
get-
No, he's going to die redeeming himself.
No, I would
guarantee
hate that. I would
you.
hate that.
I guarantee.
Hate
It's
that.
the same. It would be the same as Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
I feel like he's gonna die, or he's gonna like get stabbed, and he's just gonna be like, "Thank you," and then
Oh, like she saved him
yeah,
because he couldn't, like, he didn't have any self control over going to the dark
yeah.
side.
Like he was so dark.
As long as they play that in the Star Wars,
like
Star
he was
Wars
so
realm,
dark that he wanted to be good, but he was so dark that he
Well,
just
we
couldn't,
know he's been feeling the pull to the light since.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Since
but
the Force
Yeah,
Awakens.
that's because of the Skywalker blood.
I'll be pissed when they kill him. I'm gonna be pissed.
So am I.
Uh,
really am.
So pissed.
Maybe that's a conversation for
I'm
another
literally
day,
just gonna
so.
go boo. during-
We'll save that conversation for another day. But there it is, guys. Our theories on the return of Sheev Palpatine, the Emperor himself. Maybe he has a cool different name in this.
I want
in this
someone
story.
to call him Sheev. Like,
I don't think they ever will. Maybe he has a different name in this movie. Who knows? But yeah, so Jacob and Brian both think that he will come back as a Force ghost. In some capacity, he will be there as a Force ghost, kind of
your little thing is
chilling
now
on
making-
the dark side. I believe that he'll maybe attach himself to Vader's helmet and come back physically somehow.
That's a good one.
Part of me just wants that, and so I think that would be a very cool way to tell that story. But we also know that there's dozens of other theories out there, and so make sure you leave those down below in the comments. Let us know what you think of Palpatine and how he comes back. If he's alive, if he's just there, what reason, how, etc. Leave everything down there in the comments below, and we will definitely love to hear those and read those and get back to you on those comments. And so for Jacob, Grand Moff Bartley, possibly the last time you'll ever hear him is Grand Moff Bartley.
yeah,
and,
we're gonna find out a new name.
And Brian
by
Fett,
next episode.
probably the last time you'll ever hear Brian Fett, the short-lived term of Brian Fett.
Thank God.
I am Qui-Gon Jake. This is the Padawan Podcast for Apocaflix Movies, and we'll see you guys next time. May the Force be with you.